Okay, I'm just going to give you guys some pointers on how to go forward with the logo design project. The first one, you're going to be asked to just design your name or your initials. The point of this is to just get you started with getting familiar with text and how it can, and fonts and how they can be expressive. The other two, I'm going to ask you to either create a logo for a current company or a fictitious company. I am creating a logo for a company that I am starting. I'm starting a art company out of my dad's garage, and I need a logo. So I posted this website called looka.com, and you can put in your information and it will instantly give you some ideas on how you want to go forward with your design. I find this really, really helpful because it instantly gives you some idea generation, and it works fantastic. So as you can see, I've got lots of ideas here, and you can get more, you can start to customize. You know, it's a pretty easy website to play around with. So I took some of the ideas from here, and then I created a design in Illustrator. And you are required to use the pen tool at least once. So I am going to go forward with showing you how I made this simple black and white design. I'm going to ask that you create at least one of the logos that you create be purely black and white. And the reason for that is very often if you're going to have something cut, like laser cut or something like that, you're going to need it to be purely black and white. And it just brings the whole process down to simplicity. So this is what it's going to look like. So the first thing I did is I selected a font that I'm familiar with. I have played around with many of these fonts, and I am particularly fond of this font. So I'm going to go forward with this one. I'm going to select my text tool, make sure you have the font that you want. You can change this, of course, and I like to start out a little bit bigger so I can see what the font looks like. Notice that I did not use proper capitalization because I kind of want this to be more casual and a little more fun. That's kind of like the theme of this, because it is ultimately in my dad's garage, and it's kind of a messy place. So I'm going to go ahead and just click, and I'm going to type the word the, and then I'm going to go back up to the selection tool, and that kind of completes the command. I'm going to go back down to the text tool again. I'm going to type the word art, and again, click the selection tool one more time for the word garage. Just a note, Illustrator and Photoshop, neither one of them have spell check that I'm aware of, so be careful of what your spelling. Okay, so from here what I can do is the selection tool will just simply select the object, and then you can start to place them and arrange them. I'm basically going to duplicate the design that I already created here so you know how I did it. And obviously I made the word art bigger, and just with the selection tool you can start to stretch it out. It's kind of like the free transform tool, and you'll notice that you've got some guides here. Illustrator will automatically line things up for you. And then I'm going to grab the word the and bring it down and kind of nestle it right in there. This garage is going to be one of those places where there's a whole lot of stuff. So, and I'm using my arrow keys to kind of, again, nestle that word the right in there. Okay, so I'm close there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some simple shapes, and then I'm going to use the pen tool to create this peak. So I have selected the rectangle tool, and I need to go up here, and I am going to select black for my stroke, and for my fill I'm going to select no for that. And as soon as I go ahead and click on my document, it will turn into kind of a cross. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. I want my rectangle's stroke to be a little bit bigger, something like that, or you can make it smaller and so on. Okay, so there's the outside of my garage. And I am going to go ahead and add another point to that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add an additional anchor point to just make my roof. And as you can see, when I do that, Photoshop or Illustrator gives me a couple guides there. I'm just going to go ahead and add that. Then I'm going to use my direct selection tool. What that does is let me add or grab anchors and then move them. I'm going to grab that anchor and I'm going to pull it up and estimate where that should be. That looks great. And I'm going to move this entire thing up, kind of nestle the right in my garage there. And then finally, I basically made the garage door in the same way, except I changed up my fill and stroke. So this time I'm going to fill it with black. And my stroke, oops. I need to make sure that I am not selected on that anymore. And then I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool. I'm going to make my stroke black. Okay, sorry. All right, so I went ahead and drew another rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and fill that with black, and I'm going to take away the stroke. And that's going to serve as my garage door. And I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Put in my garage door. There it is. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I am going to make one more tiny, tiny, tiny little window. And I basically just copied and pasted those. But this time I want that to be a white fill, and grab it right in the center and put it in. And then I can just copy and paste. And paste again. And you can obviously do a little bit of arranging here with your arrow keys, and voila. Not quite the same, but darn close to perfect. So I'm going to ask you all to please create the exact same thing in Illustrator, just to give you a sense of how all this works. All right, there you go.